My brother secretly sold our inherited house and kept everything. I found out when I came home for Christmas. I hadn't been home in 2 years. After our parents passed, I moved overseas to take a contract job that turned into something more permanent. My brother, Derek, stayed behind. He said he'd take care of the house, manage the paperwork, keep it warm until I figured things out. We agreed we'd both own it. 50-50. Our family home, the one with the crooked porch swing and the maple tree out front. It was supposed to be waiting for us both. So when I booked a flight home for Christmas, I imagined quiet snow on the roof, the familiar smell of cinnamon and old wood, maybe Derek in the kitchen burning cookies like he used to when we were kids. I didn't tell him I was coming. I thought it'd be a nice surprise. I got in late. Snow was falling gently. I took a cab from the airport and asked to be dropped off on Oak Ridge Lane. I walked up the familiar steps and rang the bell, suitcase in hand, smile on my face. A woman I had never seen before opened the door. She looked confused. "Can I help you?" I blinked. "Hi, I think I have the wrong address. This is 117 Oak Ridge, right?" She nodded. "Yes, it is. We just moved in 2 months ago." My heart skipped. "Sorry, this is going to sound strange, but this was my family's house. My brother was supposed to be living here." Her expression tightened. "We bought it from a man named Derek Thorne. He said he was the sole owner." I didn't speak. I couldn't. I stepped back and looked at the house again. The porch swing was gone. The tree was still there, but the wind chimes our mom used to hang were missing. It was the same house, but it wasn't mine anymore. I mumbled an apology and walked away into the snow, stunned, suitcase dragging behind me. I didn't call Derek. I didn't know what to say. I came home for Christmas, but someone else was living in my family's house and they called it theirs. I walked the snowy streets until my fingers went numb. Every turn felt like a memory clawing at me. The old gas station where Dad used to buy me chocolate milk. The park bench where Mom read books on summer evenings. I ended up at Aunt Evelyn's place. Her porch light was on, just like it had always been. She opened the door before I could knock. "Nate?" she said, startled. "What are you doing here, sweetheart?" "I came home," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But it's not home anymore." She hesitated before letting me in. The warmth of her house hit like a wave soft lighting, smells of chamomile tea, and her cat curled on the sofa like nothing in the world had gone wrong. I sat down, took off my coat, and told her what I found. She didn't look surprised. "I thought Derek told you," she said gently. "Told me what? That he sold the house behind my back?" She bit her lip, like she was deciding whether to lie. "He said it was too much for him alone. Too many memories. Too many bills. He said you agreed to let him take care of it." "I never agreed to sell it," I said, heat rising in my chest. "We inherited that house together. I thought he was maintaining it, not getting rid of it." She sighed. "I told him it wasn't right. I told him you'd want to be involved. But you were far away, and he made decisions. He always was impulsive." I pulled out my phone and called him. Straight to voicemail. I texted, "We need to talk. Right now." No read receipt. No answer. The next morning, I went by his apartment. A neighbor said he hadn't been around in weeks. He left in a rush. Packed up, took off. Left some junk behind, but that's it. Derek had disappeared. Sold the house. Vanished. And I was left with nothing but questions, cold air, and the ache of betrayal that comes only from someone who once called you family. My brother said he was handling things. I didn't know he meant handling me out of the picture. I didn't sleep that night. My mind ran in loops, memories of growing up in that house mixed with the disbelief that my own brother had erased me from it. I kept telling myself there had to be some misunderstanding. Maybe the house was refinanced. Maybe he transferred it temporarily. Anything but what it looked like. But by morning, I knew I had to see it for myself. So I drove downtown to the county records office. The clerk was a woman in her 50s with reading glasses halfway down her nose. I gave her the address and my full name. "I'm looking for property records for 117 Oak Ridge," I said. She typed quietly, then frowned. "That property changed hands 6 months ago." "Can I see the record?" She nodded and printed it. As she handed it to me, her brow creased. "You're listed as the previous owner? I should be one of them. It was a joint inheritance between me and my brother." She pointed to the page. "Only one name appears here. Derek Thorne, sole owner. Signed and notarized." My stomach dropped. "Is there a record of a transfer from my name to his?" She searched again. Then, slowly, she turned the monitor toward me. "There is a transfer deed filed a year ago. It lists your signature." I stared at the screen. "That's not my signature." I asked for a copy. My hands shook as I looked at the fake scrawl of my name. The date, the notary's stamp, all of it fabricated. He'd forged the entire document. He hadn't just gone behind my back. He'd committed fraud. I stepped outside into the icy wind and stood motionless on the sidewalk, the documents in my hand fluttering. I thought of every phone call I'd made to Derek from overseas, every time he said, "Don't worry about things back home. I've got it handled." And I had believed him, because that's what you do with a brother. You believe. My name was on the deed, but Derek made sure the ink said otherwise. I finally tracked him down through one of his old friends. A guy named Leo who used to come around when we were younger, back when Derek still had people who trusted him. Leo said Derek was staying in a rental apartment on the edge of town, the kind with peeling paint and a broken buzzer. I didn't call ahead. I just showed up. He opened the door wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, holding a bowl of cereal like it was just another Tuesday. His face froze when he saw me. "Nate, don't play surprised," I said, stepping inside. "We're going to talk." He didn't fight it, just closed the door and leaned against the counter. "You found out." I tossed the paper at him. "You forged my signature. You sold our house. You stole everything." He set the bowl down, wiped his hands. "I didn't steal. I just made a decision." "A decision?" "You sold the place where we grew up. The place Mom died in. The place we were supposed to keep. And you didn't even tell me?" He shrugged. "You were gone. Living your new life. I was stuck here dealing with the mess. Bills, taxes, maintenance. It wasn't fair. And instead of talking to me, you faked my consent? You made me disappear from my own home?" He stepped forward, trying to sound reasonable. "You wouldn't have agreed. You were too sentimental. I needed the money. You had your big job, your freedom. I had nothing." I looked him straight in the eye. "You had me. You had trust. You had options. But you chose betrayal." He didn't answer, just stood there, arms crossed, jaw tight. I turned to leave. "You think you're better than me now?" he called after me. I paused at the door. "No, I just think I still know what family means." He sold the only thing that still felt like home and never looked back. I didn't want to take legal action. I wanted to believe there was still a way back from this, that maybe Derek would wake up one day and realize what he'd done. But the truth is, some people don't come back from certain choices. And some wounds don't heal with time. They only rot in silence. I called a lawyer the next morning. His name was Andrew Chase. Calm, precise, and clearly used to handling messy family disputes. I showed him the deed transfer, the fake signature, the documents from the county office. He read everything twice before speaking. "This is fraud," he said, straightforward. "If we can prove the signature was forged and the notary never witnessed your approval, we can build a strong case. But you need to be prepared. It won't be quick. And it won't be clean." I nodded. "I'm prepared." We started with the basics, a handwriting analysis, testimony from my employer confirming I was overseas on the date the deed was signed, and a formal complaint against the notary who had either been paid off or had looked the other way. Then came the letter to Derek. I imagined his face when he opened it. I wondered if he thought I was bluffing. But he didn't call, didn't apologize. Just let it go quiet again, like silence would save him. The court case took months. The buyers of the house were caught in the middle. They weren't at fault, but the sale had to be reviewed. The records unsealed, and my name finally put back where it belonged. The judge ruled in my favor. Derek was ordered to repay half the sale's value to me. He had already spent most of it. Gambling debts, failed investments, useless tech he didn't understand. He had nothing left. The court seized what they could. It wasn't about the money. It never was. It was about what he tried to take without asking. My trust. My memories. My right to decide what home meant. He bet I wouldn't fight. He was wrong. After the case closed, I stood outside the courthouse and stared at the sidewalk for a long time. There was no joy, no satisfaction, just a hollow kind of justice that left you wondering why it had to come to this. I had won on paper, but in reality, I had lost something I could never fully get back. Derek disappeared again. No apology, no letter, no message through our aunt. Just gone. And maybe that was the only thing he ever did cleanly cut and run without trying to pretend we were still brothers. People say blood is thicker than water. That family comes first. But what happens when the person who shares your blood uses it like leverage? What happens when family loyalty becomes a trap? I used to think that being brothers meant unconditional trust. Now, I understand it means nothing if it's not mutual. The house is still gone. The new family kept it. I didn't fight to get it back. I didn't want to live in a place that had become a symbol of betrayal. Instead, I took the settlement and moved to a quiet town 2 hours away. I found a place with a porch and a big kitchen. Not the same, but mine. I framed a photo of our old house. Not to mourn it, but to remind myself memories matter, but people do too. And sometimes, the ones closest to us are the ones who can hurt us the deepest. That doesn't mean we close our hearts. It means we open our eyes. I still believe in family. But now, I believe it has to be earned, not assumed. Built, not borrowed. And I believe in telling the truth even when it hurts. So now I ask you, if your own brother erased your past for a quick payday, would you ever call him family again? Or would you finally draw a line and protect the life you built on your own?